Okay, ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen and ladies, ladies and gents, got a little bit of Gladys. Gladys! It's Gladys! Ah! Anyway, got a little bit of Gladys Knight, and she's going to be singing about helping her make it through the night. Many of you may not have ever heard this song right here, so I'm just going to play the beginning.
I imagine most of us have been in that situation at some time or another. I know I have. Recently I heard a most beautiful song with a dynamic lyric that really expresses this feeling of loneliness. It means a lot to me personally, and I'd like to share it with you. I think you'll see what I mean.
And I think you guys will see what I mean.
Take the ribbon from my head.
This song is called Help Me Make It Through the Night. And there are a lot of things that are going on, but in particular, there are a lot of things that are going on. Now many of you are in panic mode. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot help you if you're in dire straits. I cannot help you if it's the last opportunity, if it's the last thing you have at your disposal. All I can give you is things that will delay, because guess what? They are not doing things the right way. I showed you guys the Credit River decision. Then I showed you guys the cases after the Credit River decision, where the courts were saying some things that didn't make anybody's sense. By the way, you see this wall right here? How did this happen? This is not nature. How did this wall get here? Look at it. It's not a regular rock formation. Look at how straight it is. How did this wall get here? I just thought I'd ask. We're going to have a bunch of pictures in the background. Now, the way things are is we're going into these courts and we're bringing up law. We're bringing up facts. And you all know that we're bringing up facts because you guys have done the research. All of you. We're bringing up facts. But it's not working. No. You guys are misunderstanding. It is working. It's working so well that they have to flip the script. They have to do something wrong. They have to do something different. For instance, there's a case I've been helping this young lady. She's 70 years old. And we've been putting things into the court, and she has been like a trooper. She's been filing it. And despite the fact that they've given her problems, she still managed to get things filed. She still managed to get a default judgment. And, well, an entry of default. The court refused to issue the judgment. They keep coming up with all kind of technicalities, excuses, contradicting the law. So we had a situation where she was in bankruptcy court, and while in bankruptcy court, they still set up and sold her property. She's not the only person this happened to. So we brought to the court, can't do that. That's a violation of your own rules. Please. They didn't care. So we appealed. Did the appeal, and we raised the issue on appeal. It was in bankruptcy court. Anything that happened after that, subsequent to that, sorry, can't do it. No law. The appeals court, we filed a notice of appeal. We filed all the appeals paperwork. Then we filed the appeal brief. You know what the appeals court said? We're construing your document, not appeal brief, your document as a motion to modify the commissioner. So they construed it as a motion to modify the commissioner's decision, and it's denied. Excuse me? Did you not see the notice of appeal? Did you not see the appeal documents and the appeal filing fee? Did you not see the fact that it was called appeal brief? So, what part of that made you think that you could construe it as a motion to amend some stupid verdict by some stupid commissioner? Ladies and gentlemen, I don't have to explain that to them. They're not stupid. These are learned fellows. You've heard the phrase before. Oh, he's a learned fella. Okay, these are learned fellows. Fellow meaning that they are members of the same school, same fraternity. These are learned individuals. Means that they know law. Because I bring up the points that they can't get around, this is how they have to handle it. You see, because we're appealing it on those grounds, I've tried to tell all of you. It's not so much as me doing paperwork for people. It's, I can't do something halfway. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to bring up all of the issues, the pertinent issues. I'm going to highlight all of the points. You want to sit up here and try to make us look like fools? Somebody told me today, well, maybe you should just give them what you know they want. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't compromise. It goes against every fiber of my being to compromise. That's why when the system tells me, you need to stop, you're doing too much, I look at them like they're stupid. What do you mean, stop? I don't know how to stop. I don't know how to quit. I don't know how to give up. I don't know how to give in. Look, people, every point, every moment of my life where I should have given in, where I should have given up, we're still here! I'm still here. I am still here. As a matter of fact, there are things in the movie The Matrix that I want to show all of you. As a matter of fact, I think I might do that tonight, so this video might be a little bit longer than I anticipated or wanted it to be. That being the case, there are some things in the Matrix trilogy that I think it is important to show you all. To let you know that, for instance, I've mentioned it in a couple of videos as of recent. I'm going to mention it here. If you pay attention to the TV shows and the movies that you see often, not the reality shows. The reality shows are a distraction, just like the Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump and then the Canadian Prime Minister junk. All of that's distraction, people. All of that is distraction. Let me show you how much of a distraction it is. Have you heard any news about Ebola? Hold on now. Have you heard any news about Ebola? Hey, everybody, have you heard any news about Ebola? Go ahead. Do your research. You'll see that there are no new reports about Ebola since around the 14th of May. Now, why is that? You heard 3 patients escaped the hospital, and then after that, nothing. You found out 2 of the patients died, so I guess that was something. But what happened to the 3rd patient? And what about the people they came in contact with? Interesting, ain't it? So how come they made it seem like it was a big deal? Well, we inoculated them with the new vaccines, and that should help curb the... Excuse me? You gave them a new vaccine that wasn't even tested? You've been testing the vaccine since 2015, but you still don't have any so-called validated results. How come they haven't told you guys the results of their testing? The percentage. Well, it's only designed to slow the disease down and to help prevent it, but it's not designed to cure it. So then why are you giving it to people then? Well, we're only giving it to the health officials. Pay attention, people, to what's being said. There is so much junk going on. There is so much stupidity. Look, I saw a film yesterday. Let me see it. Courier X. If you have not seen that, please go watch that. I wrote a script. Hold on, let me see if I can show it to you. Dag nabbit, I might not be able to show it to you. Dag nabbit. No, I don't think it's gonna be in here. I wrote a script, and my script was called One Man's Pain. And if it's online. Let's see, it's in alphabetical order. That works. Hold on. Gotta get to 1. O-N-E. Oh, that's after M. I forgot how to count, y'all. Well, you're not counting. These are alphabets. Yeah, you can count the alphabets. One Man's Pain. Right there. In this movie that I wrote it at the time that this occurred. I started writing it at the end of 96. Okay? If you watch the television movie, the movie that was made called Courier X, You will see in that movie, it starts out talking about Flight 800, TWA, headed from New York to Paris. It bothered me greatly to see that a plane carrying more than 200 people, a 747, crashed. Ladies and gentlemen, sorry, Al Green should not be flicking. That's why I don't use this software no more, but I just created this music playlist. Let's take you back to the beginning, Al. He just wants y'all to know that here I am, baby. Okay? Here he is, y'all. Oh, by the way, hold on. And he a reverend. Anyway, Flight 800 out of New York. Most people weren't paying attention. Same period of time as Ron Brown in a plane that he was in. And if you don't know who Ron Brown was, he was the DNC chairman, the Democratic National Committee. So he was the head of the Democratic Party as far as their delegation and speaking and all that. Ron Brown, next thing you know, he flies into the side of a mountain in a so-called military plane. But it didn't have any flight recorders on this particular military plane. Really? But he flew into the side of the mountain. It was heavy rains. Really? Ladies and gentlemen, at the time all of this was going on, a particular reporter, and I liked the movie because I knew this went on, but I had no proof that this went on. I just knew it. Flight 900, I knew there was no way on this planet that Flight 800 just blew up in the sky. Oh, it was because of their cell phones. It's because of Flight 800 that they claim that you couldn't bring cell phones on planes and turn them on and all that, or electronics, that it was interfering with the plane's electronics. And that's what took the plane down. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the engines that keep the plane in the air have nothing to do with your computer equipment. They're not Wi-Fi. They're wired. The flaps are wired. And they're hooked up through hydraulics. None of that is Wi-Fi. And if your Wi-Fi cell phone signals would interfere with the plane, then the Wi-Fi that you were connecting to on the outside of the plane, pay attention. Airlines have phones that connect to satellite, that connect to Wi-Fi. But they told everybody that it was the Wi-Fi that was the problem. That's right. And y'all couldn't use y'all cell phones on no planes no more because it was that took them planes down. And if you go back and listen to my videos since I started doing them, I've been yelling and screaming. People, your cell phones ain't doing nothing to nobody's plane. They needed to sell that stupid story. Well, again, before I didn't even know what the movie Courier X was about. I just downloaded it and watched it. And I've had it for several months. I just decided to watch it yesterday. Didn't know what it was about. Then I started watching it, and they start talking about flight number 800. I'm like, wait a minute. I went and grabbed me some popcorn. I don't eat popcorn anymore. But I went and grabbed me some popcorn, and I went and I watched myself a movie. Sure did. And I watched myself some Courier X. It was like watching Speed Racer, like Raider X. I thought it was going to be like that for real, because it said Courier X. I thought Malcolm was going to come back to life in something in the movie. You know, they were just going to make a whole new X series. You know, like the X-Men or Triple X. They called it Courier X, so I thought it was going to be like that. Lord, did I know that it was going to be a documentary. No, look, it's not a documentary. It's actually a movie. And it talks about the things that were going on during that period of time. Now, of course, the people who put the movie out wanted to highlight the Clinton administration. Ladies and gentlemen, forget Clinton. Take the beginning of the word forget, add 3 more letters, and then put Clinton. I don't care about Clinton. I don't care about Hillary. I don't care about none of that stupidity. That's all distraction. What wasn't the distraction, go back and take the time to watch Courier X. Look at all of the things that were going on in the news at the time that were distractions. When behind the scene, look at what was actually happening. There were plane crashes that nobody realized was going on. Okay? That particular officials were on those planes. The individual who found the information. The reporter, I believe he was for the Washington Post, who was reporting on what the CIA was doing in the Iran-Contra scandal, that they were sitting up there selling drugs. You guys heard of Fast and the Furious. They haven't stopped. But the CIA is sitting up there selling drugs, and they didn't want that information to get out because the CIA doesn't sell drugs. Y'all must understand. The official storyline is the CIA does not sell drugs, does not trade drugs, does not deal in drugs. That's the official line. But the official story is they did. And a reporter found out, got the evidence, and reported it. Well, hold on now. That reporter died in, I believe it was 2001. Or was it 2002? Right after the World Trade Center, but he died. Yeah, apparently he committed suicide. He shot himself in the head twice. No. Don't you dare say that that's impossible. Because it's been documented. 2002, that reporter shot himself in the head twice. I don't even know if it was from behind, but he was a magician. He shot himself in the back of the head and the front of the head. Shot himself in the head twice. Okay, so the impossible can happen. And nobody paid attention. Why? Because we were still talking about so-called Osama bin Laden. Okay? He shot himself in the head twice, and nobody talked about it. I mean, I know Alex Jones, he talked about it, but you know, when he talks, nobody listens anymore, because I haven't listened to Alex Jones for over a year. Why? Because he lost all credibility. Don't tread on me! Get your guns right now! Everybody, just go kill the landlord! Kill my landlord! That's Alex Jones. Why would I want to listen to that stupidity? Oh, you do the same thing. Your mama does the same thing. Okay, let me go ahead and finish explaining so you guys get it. Then I'm going to point out some things to you that I think it is important for you to know. As we mentioned, going into court, the courts have been ignoring us. And look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm tired. I don't want them to ignore me. But the more I get their attention, you better believe they're going to try to get my attention. If you watch Courier X, you'll see that that's exactly their routine. When somebody does something they don't like and it is causing attention to be brought their way, the first thing they do is they make threats. Well, again, that's all they have is threats. Okay? That is all they have is threats. They can't do anything else. But they can kill you. That's fine. They can. But, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not afraid of death. Sorry, death is not my fear. The future, yeah, anticipation, that's fear. But death, I don't care about death. I've been there. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said before, 18 minutes on a stupid table, dead. 6 months in a coma. How can I be afraid of death? I've been there. So, do I want to die? No. Am I looking forward to it? Eventually, I'm going to have to die. I have no choice. But I thought you Jehovah's Witnesses and you guys believe in living forever. Oh, I firmly believe in living forever. But in order to receive my reward, I have to die. So I know that eventually it's going to happen. Is it going to happen soon? Because I hope it happens soon to you. Your mama. Anyway. And those of you who think you have an understanding, you'll be able to figure that out. Those of you who thought you had an understanding, you won't be able to figure that out. So get over it. Let's move on. Ladies and gentlemen, we saw in the decision, Credit River, that everything went exactly the way it was supposed to. How do we know? Well, because the jury heard the evidence and ruled on the evidence. The banker had counsel. So he had an attorney there with him. So everything went exactly the way a court hearing is supposed to go. There was a jury, there was evidence, and there was testimony. And the judge made sure everybody knew that they were there. Everybody in a common law jury, common law situation, it's voluntary, people, just like when you're not in common law. They were all there voluntary. The jury was a Telsman jury. All volunteer jurors. Mr. Daly volunteered to be there. The judge volunteered to be there, although they were acting under their official capacity, because they both can, as officer of the court, the Supreme Court of the state, can operate under common law jurisdiction, and they were doing that because they were officers of the Supreme Court, so they had the authority to act in that capacity, but they were still there voluntarily, and the bank representative was there voluntarily. And what happened? He testified, "We create money on our books." Okay? That's it. We just create it on the books. Excuse me? How you create it on the books? Well, we just do some entries, and once the entry is done, it's created. So you mean you can do it for 85 zillion quadrillion dollars, and that's it? Oh yeah, but there are limitations. What's the limitations? Well, they don't really tell us. It's just they don't want us to get unreasonable. Well, what's unreasonable? Like AIG? That's unreasonable. That's why they didn't let AIG get away with it. But AIG is still there, yeah, but they're not like they used to be, are they? Okay. Now that the bank testified that they create what's called book entry credit, well, that book entry credit is not legal. How do you know it's not legal? Because the bank representative, whom the court said is one and the same as the Federal Reserve, in that they are both members and they both have the same functions and both provide the same services, and since the Federal Reserve is the mother bank for the membered bank, they're one and the same. I understand it. And he says, because they are one in the same facility, we got Al going on, y'all. He's saying, and how can you mend a broken heart? And I definitely wanted that to play, but we're going to be shuffling now. Ooh, shuffling and a rolling. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, the bank testified that they create this money on their books. They testified that they did not know of a law that permitted them to do this. So where did they get the idea to do this? It's in regular laws of commerce. This is what companies do all the time. Remember, companies were able to create bearer bonds. By creating these bearer bonds, they were able to get investors in their bearer bonds. But see, it could be manipulated so, like what the banks are doing. So to keep you from doing that, they got Congress to outlaw bearer bonds in 1982. So if you're thinking about doing a bearer bond, you can't, because it's been illegal in the United States. There are ways that it can be done, but then I ain't going to be coaching you on that. Well, no, technically you can do it. You just have to do it with outside the United States. And I'm not talking about you create a bearer bond because you wrote on some stupid letter without the United States. That ain't what I'm talking about. And some of you guys are so dense that you just simply don't get it, and you do stupid things. And I said stupid because that's the only word for it. You sit up here and think just because you thought that way, that's the way reality is. God. And there are so many people like that. Ladies and gentlemen, you want to create a bearer bond? Fine. I'll tell you how. Real simple. You create yourself a foreign corporation. Yeah, go ahead and create the foreign corporation first. And then create the bearer bond through the foreign corporation, because it is still legal in other countries to create bearer bonds, but you're going to have to study their laws. All right. Give you guys an update, and then we're going to finish talking about mortgages, okay? Then we're going to talk about what's really going on in our society and why they are distracting us with all of this bull crap. Ladies and gentlemen, a couple of months ago, we did a video telling you about the Internal Revenue Service. Not the Internal Revenue Service. We're going to talk about the Internal Revenue Service a little bit later. We did a video telling you guys about the taking of your address and doing a forwarding address, a change of address actually, not a forwarding address, but a change of address. And you were to do a change of address from all of those facilities that have your accounts, such as you're doing a change of address with the birth certificate number, your social security, the social security number, your name and all of its fashions and forms. And you were to send that using the card from the post office, and you were to send that in. Okay, I sent mine to the main post office. They didn't like that. They haven't even responded to me. I even sent it to them twice. But as long as I sent the change of address in, that's all that counts in my book, because that's all I'm trying to do. I'm not going to sit up here and chase after these fools. We're going to talk about it in a minute. Well, some people followed the advice that I gave them when I told them that they needed to do the numbers. I got a call this morning, actually woke me up. The person who called me, a lot of respect for that person. But the people he called me for, I don't have too much respect for them. Why? Well, because these individuals did this, and for two of the ones they did it for, they received a check back from two different companies. One of the checks had the number, the account number, as it being payable to that account number. Now in my book, they did that on purpose, because how you gonna cash that? It's payable to the account number. How you gonna cash that? You don't have an ID for that account number. But you know what I told them? I said, you're focusing on the wrong thing. It's not about cashing it. It's more about, where have all the other ones gone? All the other checks for all the other months from all the other companies dealing with this. Where are they? I said, you need to be calling them, telling them that I am a party of interest in this account, and I need to know what's going on. I need to get an audit of what's going on with this account, because I have not received any other payments except this one. And I know that there are more, so I need to talk to somebody about getting an audit. That's what they should have done. So I gave them that information. Well, why are you upset with them people? You said that they... I'm upset. Not upset. I'm just disappointed. Okay? Because somebody else had to call me about their situation. So I'm not happy. You're not happy? I'm not happy. People, I told you, there are people out there having success, and they're not telling me nothing. I'm telling people how to complete their processes, and these people are not communicating back with me, but they're watching my videos and want to critique and want to criticize. I got two fingers, one on each hand, and they're opposite each other, and they sit in the middle. You can go sit in the middle right on top of them. Okay? It's how I feel. That's right, how I feels. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back with our Dream Merchant. Again, we have a better mix this day, and I don't have to touch it. Now, at least I hope I don't have to touch it. I'm going to put you guys on pause. Well, no, I don't have to put you on pause, because this is the next thing we want to show y'all. Uh-oh. Dag. Nixie Naggy. Get ready. Hold on. Alright. This is a security exchange lawsuit, but this document right here, I thought so. Dag nabbit. Alright, we're going to open that document again. That document is important, ladies and gentlemen. It is, no, where are you at? Where are you at? Handbook, Hambone, have you heard? Mama's gonna buy me a mockingbird. And if that how you gonna be singing Hambone when Dream Merchant is on? What's wrong with you? That songs don't even have the same rhythm. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a paper, the handbook on common law pleadings. If you don't have this, Google it. Handbook of Common Law Pleadings.pdf. Okay, now you'll find, when you do find it, because it ain't everywhere. Somebody told me the book, somebody did a search for it this morning, the book is like $700. Okay? Woo! Watch him. I can't hit that note, y'all, but that man right there, he can hit it. I think he can still hit it to this day. Alright. Development of Common Law Pleadings and its importance in modern practice. Ladies and gentlemen, the original jurisdiction from the United States. Let's do this. I don't know if this document has it because I didn't search it, but let's do that. Let me get my control and let me get my Franks and ORIGINALJURISDICTION. Ladies and gentlemen, what's happening is I'm laying down partially. Okay, pay attention so that you get it. The King's Bench, by resort to the fictitious allegations of trespass. This is a writ of trespass. Sorry, this is a writ of trespass that it's talking about. I already know it's talking about a writ of trespass, okay? Proceedings by original writ, okay? I know it's talking about a writ of trespass. I already know, but we ain't gonna talk about that right now. This document will tell you about several writs, including a writ of personnel. No, it's a writ of. Dang it! It's something about personality. I'll find it, and then I'll tell y'all about it. I won't find it tonight because I'm tired, y'all. It's 6:17, and I've been up and I went to sleep at 3, and I woke up at 7. So I was tired, I tells you. But anyway, allegation of trespass, wider, which control of the defendant could be secured. Oh, no. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. We don't play Let's Get It On. That's because I just threw a bunch of... there's a playlist, and I threw the whole playlist in there. Y'all just don't know. I don't play that. Where's my playlist? Get my playlist. Now that's that Let's Get It On boy. There he is right there. We don't play Let's Get It On, y'all, because he's talking about beating around bushes and stuff. Y'all need to pay attention to that song. Okay? Remove. That song ain't that. I can't play that song. That song get in trouble. Are You That Somebody? I can play Are You That Somebody because that's Aaliyah. Okay? Okay, and they talking about Dirty South and East Coast, so I could play that. Okay, anyway, I need you all to pay attention. Here are all of our writs. Okay? So we're going to talk about that in a second. Now, hold on. Could be secured by an arrest. Expanded its jurisdiction at the expense of the other 2 courts in a manner so as to include all personal actions by a similar process of usurpation of the courts of exequatur, exchequer, also came to exercise jurisdiction over personal actions, but the jurisdiction of neither court extended to the cognizance of real and mixed action. See, you can have a common action, a civil action, a real action, or a mixed action. Okay? There is one form of action, and that is a common law action. You need to pay attention. In the meantime, the Court of Common Pleas continued to exercise its original jurisdiction, which included the authority to entertain all actions between the subjects of the king, real, mixed, and or personal, such as the ancient proprietary writs of right. That's, pay attention, do your research on a proprietary writ of right. Hey, a writ of habeas corpus is only $5. $5 to file in federal court. $5. A possessory assizes, a writ of entry, writs of entry and forcible detainers. You guys already know about writ of entries, writ of possessions. You think they're called writs just to be called writs? Putting on the writs. Okay, are such modern actions as account, covenants, debt, detention, then in existence in time over those personal actions of latter vintage. Ladies and gentlemen, the only thing I did was put in original jurisdiction to let you know that the original jurisdiction was common law. Okay? The court may also be either of original or of appellate jurisdiction. Did you see anything about general jurisdiction? Let's put general in here. See, the court of original jurisdiction is the trial court. Ladies and gentlemen, you see how he says the court of original jurisdiction is the trial court? Well, the trial court is your court of common pleas, your justice of the peace court. Those are your, pay attention, common law is the original jurisdiction of the courts. When the United States was established, the only law that was there was, pay attention, common law. There were no constitutions when it was first established in the United States. But the courts already existed because they were already convicting and trying people. Now let's do General. General Lee! Come on now, where my mouse at? My mouse be jumping, y'all. I gotta redo it. G-E-R. General Lee. In general jurisdiction, see, jurisdiction depends on the authority over the subject matter and over the parties. In general jurisdiction is the power of a court to hear cases and to decide them by, now you see, pronouncing judgment. And the power to render judgment depends on jurisdiction over the subject matter and the so-called action of the class of classes, and 2 jurisdictions over the party. Upon jurisdiction over the party. Give me 1 second. I need to make sure that that's where that went, because this thing, you're going to find when you download this, it bunches up like this because somebody converted it. And it would have taken them too long. So I give them credit. This is a 700-page book, people. But pay attention to the case law that's in here. Okay? It mentions commencement of an action. Introducing civil procedure. Okay, commencement of an action. There shall be one form of action. That is a common law action, is the one form of action, but they won't tell you that. Okay? Pay attention. Preliminary matters, note, Buffalo, 1954. Alright. Derivation of jurisdiction. The judicial powers in the jurisdiction of the court of the states and of the United States are generally derived from the respective constitutions and are further defined and fixed in statutes enacted thereunder. This is written by professors. Pay attention. Statutes cannot give power. It has to come from law. Statutes are not law. Such written law prescribes the nature of the causes that may be brought within the cognizance of the respective courts, i.e. legislative, judicial, or administrative courts. In England, however, and by way of contrast, the source of the power and the authority of the common law courts to afford the relief asked was anciently the original writ, a delegation from the king in each instance. So if you wanted redress, you had to file writ. Such a writ was a warrant of authority under which a particular common law court took cognizance of the cause. You want a common law trial? According to this, it should be in a writ. I don't know. I haven't read this until just now, people. In course of time, the jurisdiction of law courts became fixed and established as those matters in which the writs were demandable of common right. See, you don't have to have a constitution. There were common rights. In England, there was no constitution, but the people had common rights, i.e. common law. In time, however, original writs fell out of use as a regular means of commencing an action. Nonetheless, they left behind them a dearly defined jurisdiction and the limited system of remedies under the form of actions of each, which will be considered in detail. And what do they do in detail in this? They talk about forms of action. Now here you have the original writs. Putting on the writs. I'm putting on the writs. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's what this document is for. Those of you who are into law, many of you have not seen this. I've had this document since 2012, or about. I know it was just before 2012, but I can definitely tell you since beginning of 2012 I had this document. I just never looked at it. It was 735 something pages. I wasn't going to do that. Not to myself. I ain't got the time even to read it now. But I do have the time to do keywords. Okay? I do have the time to do the keywords. If you go through the first set of pages, and it starts roughly about page 15, but if you go to the first set of pages, what you will do, pay attention, gave equitable relief and dispense complete justice where it was urged. Now, let's, hold on. Let's find out where they gave complete justice, because that's what the judge in the Credit River case said. Go back and read his memorandum. He talks about giving complete justice. You think he read this? I think so. Hold on. In England, even after some elasticity, was afforded by the flexible nature of the action on the case, a large jurisdiction was still unprovided. To meet such a lack of remedy, it is said that the Court of Chancery was created, in which the Chancellor gave equitable relief, yes, they did a court of equity, and dispensed complete justice where it was urged, for one reason or another, that there was no adequate remedy at common law. See, when there was no remedy at common law, they created another court instead of creating a remedy at common law. The jurisdiction of equity was residuary and supplemental to the law. Really? So, the jurisdiction of equity is supplemental to the law, to the common law. Interesting. So, common law still exists because equity can only exist as a sub-part, not as the forepart. Based on a delegation by the Council of Judicial Authority, not previously delegated to the older courts. Such is the source of the great division of jurisdiction into legal and equitable, allotting certain kinds of actions and relief in one set of courts and the remainder in another. Ladies and gentlemen, the courts that you're in are equitable. Let me explain what they're explaining. They're saying they claim that there was no remedy at common law for certain things, so they created the equitable courts. Take a look at the 11th Amendment. They speak about suits in law, common law, and equity. Pay attention. Suits in law, common law, and equity. The United States recognizes common law. You need to understand that. They have to recognize common law because common law is not residuary or supplementary to the equitable law. The law here, you see it's capitalized. That's common law. Common law. When they say the supreme law of the land, that's talking about common law. Let me finish so that you can see it. Okay. The line of demarcation of division, like the demarcation line, the demarcation line between Koreas? Come on, y'all, get together with the current history. The demarcation line, he crossed the demilitarized zone. That's a demarcation zone. It's a division. Okay, again, demarcation between legal and equitable. Legal, equitable. Common law, statutory. Jurisdiction is thus historical in origin and arbitrary in fact. Nevertheless, the duality of courts and jurisdiction has to be kept constantly in mind. Has to be kept constantly in mind, not somewhat in mind, as it had a direct bearing on how jurisdiction in a given case was to be secured by the common law courts and the courts of chancery or equity, and the powers which they exercise. The original writ, the original process in which the writ or notice by which a defendant is called upon to bring forth somebody, appear and answer the plaintiff's declaration. The commencement of an action at common law was formally by original writ. Judicial process by summons, attachment, arrest, or allory. Don't know what that word is. Never looked at it because they got them little stupid legalese. Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm trying to tell you, I don't believe in coincidences. I wasn't even looking for this the other day. I was looking for something else. I was looking for this right here. I have subpoenas. Come on now. Subpoenas. See? Federal Civil Procedure. And I have cover sheets. Do you see? That's the realtor stuff. Y'all remember that realtor junk? Alright. So I was looking for that. And I stumbled across this. This stuff has come in handy. And for the last 2 days, I've been going over only the first couple of pages. Now, me and someone else, myself and another person, went through the latter pages, but I went over this. Now, hold on. At common law, as previously observed, an action was begun by suing an original writ out of chancery in the king's name. Pay attention. Oh, look at that. Look at what we just learned. An individual did it as a qui tam. You know what, ladies and gentlemen? I just brought my lawsuit in the name of the United States of America. Now, I'm not saying y'all do that. I'm saying that's what I just read. Began by suing an original writ out of chancery in the king's name, which served the purpose of ordering the sheriff to give the defendant notice, determine the character of the action, and this, I believe this is although, but I can't tell you what that is because that's what happens in the switching of the document. So that's where it's gonna, I know it's gonna stop here, showing the nature of and form of original writs. London, 1732. Mallory, modern entries in English, being a select collection of pleadings, I believe bringing a collect selection of pleadings to the court of the king's bench, common pleas. I'm not even going to try anymore. And also all kinds of writs. Ladies and gentlemen, if you can find this book, and it will be difficult, okay, The English Lawyer, that's the name, showing the nature and forms of original writs. This is a 1732 book. It's going to show you those original writs. Putting on the writs, and I would say get your hands on one of them original writs. Now, please understand, did you know that there is common law procedures for the court? Anyway, authorize specific court to hear a certain cause substituted in lieu of the original writ. The modern summons is also issued in the name of the sovereign. That's right. Pay attention. The summons were supposed to serve as the writ. It's substituted and is directed against the defendant. Although the summons does not have all of the attributes of the original writ, it does serve as an effective instrument in commencing an action. Okay? With these comments in mind, we may now consider the varieties of judicial processes by which jurisdiction over the parties to an action may be required. Understand, this is what they're trying to tell you, how the courts run. 700 and, oh, look at that. We're on page 83. Okay? The modern practice of the original writ is no longer used either as authority in instituting an action or for the purpose of compelling appearance by the defendant, though in some of our states the term is retained to designate the process that has taken its place, that has taken its place. See, that's supposed to be C-A-K-E-N, but again, when they converted this, it didn't pull up the K. Okay. No writ at all is necessary for instituting actions, and the writ of summons is used as a means of notifying the defendant of a suit and ordering him to appear in court. The practice is very generally, if not entirely, regulated by statute, varying somewhat from state to state. Then that means that we still should be doing things by writ. I'm just saying. I'm not, don't go telling no judge that I need to be doing this by writ. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, give me 1 second. Got to go back up here. Let's see. The general practice, okay. Directing, okay, let's get here. Yeah, I didn't read this. It's almost saying the general practice is for the attorney in commencing an action to draw up, sign, and present to the clerk of the court an order requesting him to issue a summons. This order is called a recipe. It is not essential to the validity of the summons, but is used merely as a convenient way of directing the clerk as to its issuance. A verbal direction would do us well. Hey, I just tell them I want a summons. Y'all see my summons? I give them my summons saying you need to sign this, snap this, I need a stamp on it. That's what the summons is all about. In this country, since the jurisdiction of the courts is conferred by Constitution and statute, there is no need for any original writ authorized to institute an action. President, etc., of Bank of New Brunswick versus Aerosmith. Ladies and gentlemen, they said there is no need. Excuse me. The courts don't receive their authority by statute. Administrative or legislative courts receive their authority by statute. The other courts receive their authority by the Constitution. But, however, a writ would still become necessary because they represent the sovereign. Okay, and remember, this is done in 1889 when they were just changing the system. Okay, one case. Alright, so this is part of the information I want to deliver to you guys. Now, y'all need to hold on. Me and my man's Pride with Morris Day in the background, we're going to ask y'all to hold on for a second.